My dear boys and girls, tonight I have appeared again in front of you with another item, that is framing WH question: how long, how far, and how much. And last night I discussed with you how many, the use of how many. Clear? Now, my first sentence that I have written on the board: I will take 1 teaspoonful of sugar in my tea. Suppose you have been asked to frame a question with how. Then what will be the question? The question will be how much sugar, will you take? How much sugar will you take in your tea? In your tea. Okay? You see that how much? And sugar is object and will is auxiliary verb, then subject, then principal verb. So what is the formula? Formula is how much plus object plus auxiliary verb plus subject plus principal verb. Okay? This is the formula. How much plus object plus auxiliary verb plus subject plus principal verb. Then adverbial, etc. Clear? So, how many suggests number, while how much suggests quantity. Only quantity. Another example I am going to cite. For example, second sentence I am writing. For example, you should add 1 teaspoonful of salt in the pickle. You know that pickle is a very tasty item of food. You should add 1 teaspoonful of salt in the pickle. Suppose you are preparing mango pickle, lemon pickle, etc. and you have been advised to add only 1 teaspoonful of salt in the pickle. Suppose you have been asked to frame a question with how, and salt is also uncountable, not countable. Clear? Then what should be the question? The question should be how much salt should I add to the pickle? Add 1 teaspoonful of salt to the pickle. Okay? To the pickle. Then what should be the question? How much salt should I add? How much salt should I add to the pickle. To the pickle. Okay? Not of intervention. So, you see that how much, this is the formula, then comes object, then comes the auxiliary verb, that is the modal verb, then comes subject, then principal verb. Okay, this is the formula. There is no problem. So, when you want to suggest or indicate any kind of quantity, you should use much, not many. Clear? Another example I am giving. For example number 3. Clear? For example, your mother has asked you to buy mustard oil from a grocer's shop. Then I am writing the sentences. Please buy please buy 1 liter. Please buy 1 liter of mustard oil from the grocer's shop. From the grocer's shop. Full stop. You have been asked to frame a question with how. Please buy 1 liter of mustard oil from the grocer's shop. Then what will you write? Question should be, how much mustard oil shall I buy from the grocer's shop? How much mustard oil shall I buy from the grocer's shop? Okay. So, how much mustard oil shall I buy? You see that how much? Mustard oil is object, shall is modal, that is the auxiliary verb, I is subject, and then comes the principal verb buy. This is the formula. Now, I am giving an example on how long. For example, Mr. Jones is a good sprinter. Is a good sprinter. That means who runs very well. Mr. Jones is a good sprinter. He can run 5 miles at a stretch. At a stretch. Full stop. Mr. Jones is a good sprinter. He can run 5 miles at a stretch. Okay. He can run 5 miles within within 45 minutes. Within 45 minutes. Okay? You have been asked to frame a question with how. Mr. Jones is a good sprinter. He can run 5 miles within 45 minutes. How? When you suggest distance, you must use long. Okay? So what should be the question? The question should be, how long Mr. Jones, noun in apposition, use noun in apposition, a good sprinter, comma, how long Mr. Jones, a good sprinter, can run within 45 minutes. Within 45 minutes. Okay. Then what is the answer? Answer is 5 minutes. Sorry, 5 miles. Only 5 miles is the answer. So how long plus subject? It is the noun in apposition or phrase in apposition. It is the auxiliary verb. Then comes the principal verb. This formula is different. How long Mr. Jones, a good sprinter, can run within 45 minutes. Okay? Now, you should always remember that when there is the auxiliary verb and the modal verb, you see that whenever you are getting the distance, the auxiliary verb does not go before Mr. Jones. How long can Mr. Jones, a good sprinter, okay, you may use it. How long can Mr. Jones, here use it can. How long can Mr. Jones, a good sprinter, run within 45 minutes? It is the correct approach. How long plus auxiliary verb plus subject plus principal verb. So how long can Mr. Jones, a good sprinter, run within 45 minutes? Clear? You get only the distance and the auxiliary verb, that is the modal, has been used before the subject. Before the subject. Okay? Now come to the fifth example. For example, you see that there is a forest. There is a forest about 3 kilometer, about 3 km. There is a forest about 3 km away from our house. Okay? And you have been asked to frame a question with how. Here is also distance, but here the distance, you see, you can use far. Far. Two distances are quite different. two measurements are quite different. Here you will have to use how far is the forest from our house, from your house. Question should be how far, here how far is the forest, how far is the forest from your house? So the answer will be hour. How far is the forest from your house? So here the answer is 3 kilometers away from our house. 3 kilometers away. So here is the principal verb. There is no auxiliary verb here, but it precedes the forest. How far is the forest from your house? And the answer is 3 kilometers. Okay? Okay, good night today. And I want to say that I will discuss this chapter again, because how long, how far and how much, and there are more examples to be given, and I will give you more examples to be clear. And I think that you will not skip the video and you will see, or you will watch the video from the very beginning to the end, so that you may not lack any knowledge on framing WH questions with how many, how much, how long and how far. Clear? Okay? Stay fit, stay mellow and stay safe. And again, I remind you to subscribe my channel. Don't forget it.